Hello, welcome to Senior's Last Word this week. Thierry Henry could be the most underrated world-class footballer of all time. For everything that he was, for everything that he did, he never won the FIFA Best Player Award. He didn't win the Ballon d'Or. He never won the Best Player in Europe. Yet, for 10 years at Arsenal, this guy did everything that any footballer would have done if he was at the level which Thierry Henry was. At Barcelona, he added every other trophy that he missed out while at Arsenal. How come Thierry Henry, for his style, the flair, his flamboyance, the skills, he recruited millions of fans for Arsenal Football Club. He amazed everyone who set eyes on him when he donned that Arsenal shirt. How come he didn't win any of these top awards? That's the problem, and that's the question for today. I try to provide some answers and also try to look into the criteria that FIFA and UEFA use to give these awards. It's a scandal, it's a shock that Thierry Henry, for all he was and for all he did, he was never number one in the world. He scored 226 goals for Arsenal, 49 for Barcelona. He won the league, Premier League. He won La Liga. He won the FIFA Club World Cup. He won the UEFA Champions League, the UEFA Super Cup. He won the FIFA World Cup. He did win the FIFA Conferedations Cup. He won the European Championships. He won every single award that any footballer sets their eyes on when they become a professional footballer, when they become world class and play at a top club. Thierry Henry did it. He played alongside some of the best footballers this world has ever seen, at least in the last 2 decades. That was not good enough to win him the Best Player Award in the world. Was it unfair? In 2003, he missed out. He was a runner-up in the FIFA Ballon d'Or. Guess who won it? Paul Nedved. In 2006, he still missed out on the award. He came second. Guess who won it? Fabio Cannavaro. In 2003, the argument was Nedved had a far better season and he did far more for Juventus than Henry had done for Arsenal. But Nedved, we know, didn't win the Champions League that year. Nedved didn't win the World Cup that year. Could he have really done more than Thierry Henry did in 2003 when he was top scorer at Arsenal in the league, but also top assists provider in the league? And he did much more because, remember, just a season later, he went on to lead Arsenal to that great invincible season. 2006, the argument was Cannavaro was the player because Italy emerged world champions. And for just that, the captain, who had a great World Cup finals, did win the Ballon d'Or ahead of Thierry Henry in 2006 when it should have been him. Remember how far Arsenal went in the Champions League, again narrowly missing out in the final. So what is the criteria? Looking at Arsenal, Barcelona, Thierry Henry's career, everything he did that made him, he did it in 10 to 11 years. Everything. Better than most. What he gave to football, very few people do. Some call him a center forward. Others saw him as a winger. Others, a false nine. Doesn't matter what you thought he was in terms of positioning. What Henry did was to score goals prolifically. Not only is he Arsenal's greatest scorer of all time, their greatest player of all time, he is still France's all-time top scorer, 51 goals. So what does a player need to do to become the world's best? Let's go to his technical abilities. Few players, if any, in living memory, have been center forwards, strikers, And they gave to football what Henry did: finesse, flair, dribbling artist. He played with flamboyance. His skill level, the entertainment value, the freedom with which he played football. He just loved this game. Always playing with a smile. And some of the goals he scored, many of the goals scored out of this world. He teased, he played, he toyed with defenders. At the World Cup, in the European Championships, in the League, in Europe, wherever Thierry Henry appeared, he was just wondrous. How many footballers can claim to have brought to football or given to football what Henry did? And just how can Fabio Cannavaro, Paolo Nedved have won the FIFA Ballon d'Or and not him? In 2003, he could have won the FIFA Best Player Award. He was beaten to it by Zinedine Zidane. In 2004, he could have won the FIFA Best Player Award. He was beaten to it by, guess who? Ronaldinho. Admittedly, in terms of talent, both Ronaldinho and Zidane, you could argue, were better talents. And probably in terms of greatness, perhaps marginally better in that period. Could it be that Thierry's influence, perhaps which we didn't see that much in the national team, could have been a reason for that? Because I personally think that for his world class in the French national team, for all the years he played, yes, he did win the European Championships. Yes, he won the World Cup. Yes, he won the FIFA Conferedations Cup. And yes, he enjoyed the greatest times for a French national footballer during his time, during his era, when they were called the Golden Era. The only problem with Thierry Henry during that period, not once was he outstanding in that team. No. There was always one player who stood a shoulder above every other world-class player in France. That was Zinedine Zidane. And remember, that was national football. Could that have been a reason to doubt his class? Could it be the reason why, in a year where he excelled across all fronts, he was denied the chance to be the best player in the world because of Zidane? Think about it. Ronaldinho, what a player. 2004, he was the world's number one. Perhaps there was no question and no doubt to why he was. But then Henry again came so close. What is it that he couldn't do, but Ronaldinho did? Well, Ronaldinho delighted with his feet, with his body, with his fancy footwork, with his technique. Provided assists, scored goals, won things. Admittedly, Henry as well won things. But when it came to a straight vote between him and Ronaldinho, you'll understand why probably the voters usually had to go for Ronaldinho. There was just too much around Ronaldinho's game. Zidane, easily one of the top 3 players in football of all time. A straight vote between Henry and Zinedine Zidane was difficult. Yes, Henry, the prolific marksman, the goal scorer. Yes, if it was on goals alone, you would give it to Henry with eyes closed. Zinedine Zidane, obviously the playmaker, the central midfielder, the guy who brought joy to football, his elegance, his command over football, the class both at club Real Madrid, Juventus, and at national level in France. Think about Zidane. Whether he wore the blue shirt of France or the white of Madrid, it didn't matter against which opponent, in what tournament, wherever, his influence, his impact. He was the player. You had the ball and you were great, and you were playing in the same team with Zidane, you gave the ball to Zidane. It was that simple. The same with Ronaldinho. Doesn't matter the team he played in, Ronaldinho was great. Wonderful players at Barcelona. But you wanted to win a match, you wanted impact in a game, and it was Barcelona with Ronaldinho, you just had to give it to Ronaldinho. And that was the same in Brazil. So those are two players perhaps would be understandable if they did reign above Arsenal, above Thierry Henry in the years when they won the FIFA Best Player Award and Thierry Henry did. My problem is in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2006, in those 4 years, Thierry Henry played, no question, the best football of his career. In England, in Europe, and elsewhere. When I look at the guys who won both the top awards and even the Euro awards, I still come back to the same question. What did we miss? What didn't Thierry Henry do right? Who are the voters that just didn't think he was right to win it? Why do I say he could probably be the most underrated footballer of all time? Because he had every quality. He did everything that any winner of the FIFA Ballon d'Or does to win it. Take the example of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Why have they dominated the Ballon d'Or? Why else, apart from the numbers, the statistics, the goals, their prolific game, season in, season out, month in, month out, scoring goals, great goals, winning things, great winners, great awards. In terms of team effort, probably for Messi, yes. Ronaldo probably match winner more times than not. But if the voters thought Messi's goals, talent, and skill are the reason why Messi won it 7 times, and Ronaldo's consistency in front of goal, his influence on teams as he wins also silverware after silverware, if they thought that's all it took for them to win the FIFA Ballon d'Or that many times, how can you then tell me Thierry Henry's numbers, which he also had a mix of technical ability, sheer talent, joy as in joyous football that he played, the technique that he had, the influence that he had, and then you tell me it wasn't enough for him to win the FIFA Ballon d'Or ahead of Paulo Nedved, Fabio Cannavaro. So when Paulo Nedved won it in 2003, it wasn't important to win the Champions League because there was a Champions League in 2003. Juventus didn't win it. So if it was the awards and what you win in a season that determines your rating the FIFA Ballon d'Or, what was it that gave Nedved the title or the award in 2003? 2006. You play a World Cup once. Yes, it comes every 5 to 4 years. You are a defender. You defend your way to the title. And you deserve the FIFA Ballon d'Or after 12 months of football, ahead of a world-class player who has the numbers, the flair, the stats, the accolades, the titles, yes, at club level, but consistently through 12 months, making millions and millions of fans happy and a lot of people purring over his talent and quality. And you say that one off of Cannavaro is the reason why he won it ahead of Thierry Henry. There is a problem there. For me, a big problem. It hurts. Doesn't look fair that Arsenal's greatest player of all time, justifiably so, left football without ever being the best player in the world. The argument that he played around the time when there were very many other great players doesn't cut it for me. I've given exceptions. If there was a year where he was competing it with Zidane, he had to do a little bit more to beat Zidane. I admit. Ronaldinho, yes, if there was a year where he had to go toe-to-toe with Ronaldinho, he had to do a lot more to beat Ronaldinho. But for goodness, not Cannavaro, not Paulo Nedved, not for me. No, that is not right. It didn't sound right. Okay, the year of the Invisibles, 2004, where he really came to the fore. Probably that's the standout achievement that could have stretched him to really get head on with Ronaldinho. Because to end a season unbeaten in the Premier League and you are the standout player, the leader on the pitch, I think that was something special. But yes, we know it was more special because Barcelona that year was untouchable and Ronaldinho was unbeatable. The topic for today is Thierry Henry, the most underrated footballer, world-class footballer of all time. I've seen unfairness in football. I've seen years where we all thought the award could go left and then it goes right. And the players in question, in this case the players who missed out, were upset. Even many fans were upset on their behalf. But can you remember any year, ever since the FIFA Ballon d'Or was introduced, ever since the FIFA Best Player Award were introduced, can you remember any year where a footballer at the class and level of Thierry Henry was in there to win it and he didn't win it because someone was better than them? I don't remember that year. There have been arguments about Xavi Hernandez, him not coming out on top at all in any of those years. But if Xavi Hernandez never won any of those awards, again, how could Paul Nedved have won it? Talk about central midfielders, what they did to football, what they brought to football, and you still think Nedved is the one who did the most outstanding things for a central midfielder to win the award at least once, but not Xavi Hernandez? That's madness. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it happened. That is why I return to the Thierry Henry question. And my interest in Thierry is because every time you watch Thierry Henry, you remember Thierry Henry. You look at the videos, you look at his records, you look at the numbers and the stats. Better than that, you look at his game. You get saddened. He ought to have been number one in the world at some point. He never was. That for me is the problem with football today. Because Arsenal's Thierry Henry was good enough. Out of the 10 years he played football at the very top level, he was good enough. Doesn't matter who was against him, except the exception is Zinedine Zidane and Ronaldinho. For all the other years, it doesn't matter. World Cup year, European Cup year, call it whatever you want. Thierry Henry, his consistency over a decade, consistency at club and national level, really was deserving of either the FIFA Ballon d'Or award or the FIFA Best Player award. Let's not forget, in the late 90s, Rivaldo was a winner of the Ballon d'Or. Was Rivaldo more consistent, year in, year out, month in, month out, for all his class and quality? Was he more consistent than Thierry Henry over that period of time? No. And yet, he did win it. And I don't question the year when he won it. He deserved the win. Thierry Henry. He celebrated the victories, celebrated the accolades for the team, did win many individual awards. Top scorer 4 times the Premier League. That was great. 4 times the Premier League, twice best player in the Premiership. Admittedly, that's why he's put alongside who? Cantona, as perhaps the greatest ever Premier League footballers of all time. We know that the Premier League is the best league in the world. Surely that alone, even if it were the only qualification, was good enough for him to be put on the same pedestal with the others. It didn't happen. Football is supposed to be a democratic sport. Football is supposed to be a fair game. That's the motto, fair play. To Thierry Henry though, it just might be one of those things. We don't know about what he thinks about it. We don't know. But we football fans who keep close eyes and close watch over every other standout footballer, it's one of those things where you sit down and say, how did this happen? How did Thierry Henry not be number one footballer in the world at least once in his career? 10 years. What 10 years? Will we ever see a player of the quality of Thierry Henry in the Premier League again? Maybe not. Doesn't that sadden you that that kind of player who took his class beyond the Premier League, into the national team, into the World Cup, he did it alongside many world-class players at Barcelona. He did win. So he was a winner. He had silverware to show for his class. Why he's never won these things, why he didn't win it, I don't know. So for me, for those reasons, I want to move today that yes, Thierry Henry is the most underrated world-class footballer of all time. And that's sad. That's my last word.